Welcome back to the Professionally Casual Podcast. We are back, yes. And today's episode, I want to talk some hoops. And specifically, I want to talk about some players back in the day. I'm talking 2017, 2016, you know what I'm saying? 2015. Some NBA players who were a little bit forgotten from that era, you know what I'm saying? Those players that were good back in the day, but then, as time went on, they just kind of, either with injuries or just, they just kind of regressed. They were just kind of forgotten about, right? And I want to talk about specifically 5 of these boys. 5 of the boys, right? This is in no particular order, but we're gonna start off with Kemba Walker. And man, I used to love Kemba Walker. He was one of my favorite point guards in the league. You know what I'm saying? And the league had Chris Paul, Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving, Isaiah Thomas. We're gonna talk about later. I had so many good point guards, but Kemba Walker was my favorite by far. It was just his best season was 2018, 2019, but I fell in love with him. At like 2000, I want to say 17, just because that's when I really got into basketball, to around 2015, 2016, right? I wasn't like a massive fan like I am now, but I was definitely a fan, right? Like I would try to keep up with it as much as I could. And that's in his best season, 2018-19, he averaged 25, 6, and 4. I mean, all-star. And honestly, bro, he was crazy, bro. And he had one of the coolest nicknames, Cardiac Kemba. I mean, you go back and look at some of his highlights. I mean, he could do it all right. Like, he could get to the paint. He could finish from the freaking outside. He got the little midi, bro. He had the handles. He was quick. He was fast, man. He was so fun to watch. And the thing about him that I think I like so much is because he was a very undersized. I mean, he was only 6 foot. And, yeah, he was doing it all out there, right? He was just cooking. He was leading his team. He never really had it was kind of unfortunate, right? They finished 9th in the Eastern Conference Finals, 39-43, his best season, 18-19. So it wasn't like he was a superstar, but he was so fun to watch, right? And he was a shining light in Charlotte, right? Because Charlotte, terrible fucking team, right? They've been terrible for so long. And then Kemba Walker came in as a rookie. He had a really good rookie season, 12 points, 4 assists, 3.5 rebounds, and then the next season he went up to 17 points, 5.7 assists, 3.5 rebounds, and then he just kept going up, and it was a shining ray in Charlotte, right? And unfortunate for Kemba Walker, they traded him. Literally his best season. The next season they traded him to Boston, and he had a really good season, right? Like I said, he had 25, 6, and 4. And then the next season with Boston, he had 20. He had 25 and 4, right? And they did make the playoffs that year. I think this was This was right before the bubble year. They finished 3rd in the Eastern Conference Finals, which was really good. But I think they came up short. I don't know who they lost to, but they came up short, obviously, because they didn't win. And then after that, he just kind of regressed, right? Like, he didn't have any super major injuries. He just kind of regressed. And then now he's retired, right? That's one of the main reasons I'm making this video, because Kemba Walker retired. I'm like, damn. When I heard that, I'm like, damn, I used to love Kemba Walker, man. And then, now he's out of the league. And, yeah, he's one of those players that I think that people are going to forget about. But, the people who remember, like me, are going to be like, damn, Kemba Walker was a dog. The next player is Gordon Hayward. Man. Gordon Hayward, bruh. That's crazy. One-time All-Star. That was his best season, actually. One-time All-Star, 2016, 2017, where he averaged 22, 3, and 5, which was pretty good. And the thing about Gordon Hayward, and he was a wing. He was 6'6". He had, like, you know what I'm saying? He was with Utah. This is his Utah year, man. And I just think it was just like, he was just a tall wing who was very underrated, right? He had really good size on him. Chill. He had really good size. He could do it all as well, right? He could finish in the paint. He was actually a pretty good slasher. There's a couple of highlights of him. If you look up Gordon Hayward highlights, you're going to get a couple of dunks where it's like, okay, Gordon, I didn't know you had it like that. But he could shoot the ball. His best season, he shot 39% from 3. I mean, that's crazy. That's amazing. Almost 40% from 3. That's awesome. So he could shoot the ball, pretty good clip. And he did it on a pretty decent clip. He averaged 5 attempts that game on 40% shooting. That's a pretty solid clip. So Gordon Hayward was a great 3-point shooter. So he could 3-point shoot. He never really took middies, which was kind of weird considering he was 6'7" and had really good size on him. But regardless, great 3-point shooter, great finisher. The one thing is he had good size on him, but didn't really use it. He was never really a really good defender, even though he had the tools to do it. He wasn't as quick. He was a little bit slower on his feet. Not slow, but, just not fast enough for you to be like, oh, yeah, this is a really good defender. He was a little slow on his feet, but he had very good size to where he could have good defense, but, he never really established himself at that. And, after Utah, he went to Boston, but obviously we know exactly what happened. The first game of the season basically snapped his foot in fucking two. After that, it was just injury ridden the rest of his career, right? I think it was cool, right? The season after he got injured, he played 72 games, right? But after that, he just wasn't the same. 72 after that. Then the next season, only 52 games, only 44, only 49, only 50, only 51. So, after that injury, it kind of did him, and which I was really sad about. Because, like I said, he was such a cool player to watch. You know what I'm saying? Very underrated, very sneaky as well. Sneaky athleticism. And he was still good, though, right? He was so injury ridden when he was on the court, he was a good player. He could find his own shot. He can basically, he wasn't the greatest playmaker, but he could find his own shot, which was great, right? So then he didn't have to rely on anyone else. He can just find his own shot and do his thing, which I think a lot of teams would be happy to have. It's just that he just wasn't on the court as much as you'd like, and that's what I think did him. And also, same thing with Kemba. He officially retired from the NBA. And another reason why I was making this video, I'm like, damn, I used to love Gordon Hayward, right? So there's that. Next person, Isaiah Thomas. Come on. We know it. IT, heart over height. His best season, undoubtedly the 2016-17 season. He averaged 29, 6, and 3. What the fuck? And he did that all. And that's crazy stats. Considering, and that's even crazier because this dude was 5'9", bro. 5'9", and he was averaging 20. He was putting 30 on the fucking, almost 30 points on the goddamn league. He was one of the best players, bro. He finished 5th in MVP voting that year, bro. 2nd All-NBA All-Star, 5th in Most Improved Player. Come on. That's crazy. And not to mention his finals run, his playoff run that year. His playoff run, he averaged 32. And then, the story, his sister passed away and he dropped 35 or some shit. And, man, it's crazy. That year in Boston, I'm looking at their stats right now, his stats right now. That year in Boston, his last year in Boston, he averaged 30. And then he got traded to Cleveland, but then he got injured and he had a hip surgery. And then after that, it was just downhill. You look at his stats. Obviously, not counting the season where he got injured, he was traded. He went from Boston, then he went to Cleveland, then he got traded to Cleveland to the Lakers that year, and then the next year he went to Denver, and then the next year he went to Washington, and then the next year he went to New Orleans, and then that next year he went to the Lakers, but then he got traded to Dallas, and then that same year he got traded to Charlotte, and then, most recent team, he played for Phoenix last year. You know what I'm saying? 6 games. But obviously it's he's just not the same, man. And, we'll see. It's very inspirational because, you see a lot. This dude is still relevant in the how do you say, the NBA media, the basketball media, because you see him a good amount. You see him tweet out stuff. You see him be in a couple of podcasts. Unlike Kemba Walker and Gordon Hayward, who just kind of stay low-key, right? No one's really going to miss those guys just because it's, they were really good, but they're in the Hall of Fame of just really good players that used to be in the league. But Isaiah Thomas was a really, really good player and had such a incredible upbringing. And then to see him just be in one of the highest of heights and being in the NBA playoffs and being considered one of the greatest players in the league to just being out of the league and couldn't stay on a roster spot, right? I think right now he's not officially retired, but who knows, right? Maybe teams will pick him up. How old is he? Right now he's 35, so I don't see any teams picking him up anytime soon. You're going to pay for a 35-year-old who's fucking 5'9". Maybe you can get him as a vet, just for some locker room, but it's like, who knows? Next person is Hassan Whiteside. Man, y'all remember Hassan Whiteside? It wasn't too long ago to where he was in the league. I mean, it really wasn't. 2021, he played for Utah. Hassan Whiteside, I mean, double machine, right? Best season 2016-17. He averaged 17 points, 2.1 blocks a game, and 14 rebounds a game. Damn. Like, come on, bro. That is crazy, In 2015-16, he finished second in Defensive Player of the Year. He averaged 3.7 blocks a game. Like, oh my goodness me gracious. That boy knew how to fucking defend. Hassan Whiteside, like I said, double machine. Y'all remember I don't know, Vic did it, but he was one of the few players in the past like 10 years who got a triple-double with blocks and or steals, right? Obviously, Draymond did it too, but Vic just did it too. But getting a triple-double with blocks is fucking insane, bro. It's insane. And like I said, double machine. He averaged 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 17 points a game. I mean, that's insane with Miami. He never got an all-star because he, I think Miami wasn't good at all that year. That doesn't tell me, but Miami was, here we go. Miami, ninth in the Eastern Conference, 41-41. They made the playoffs, but obviously they weren't going to do shit. And Hassan Whiteside was so fun to watch. His aggressiveness on the court. He never really was aggressive offensively. He was more of a defensive-oriented big. But, man, his blocks, they were crazy. Like, usually you see a player get blocks, you know what I'm saying? It's like a little stuff, right? Player's going to put it up and then, boom, just kind of get someone with the ball in their arm and just kind of stuff. So, Hassan Whiteside, that motherfucker swatted the ball. And, going back, watching Hassan Whiteside highlights, man, them shits are crazy. But he's not retired, not officially, at least. I think right now he's playing overseas. So, right now he is, how old is he? 35 as well. So, I mean, definitely, I could definitely see a world where a team picks him up, right? Because guys like Andre Drummond are still in the league. And I feel like Hassan Whiteside can also do what Drummond does. Drummond, just rebounds, plays a little rough down there in the paint. And I think Hassan Whiteside can also do that, right? So maybe we'll see Hassan in the league again at one point. And last but not least, DeMarcus Cousins, bruh. Boogie Cousins, man. Boogie Cousins, that motherfucker was a dog, right? Best season, 2016-17, 27, 5, and 11. Bro, man, DeMarcus Cousins used to be an absolute monster in the paint, bro. Like, he was genuinely dominant. Like, he was dominant in the paint. No matter who you put down there, he was going to score by will. And you look at DeMarcus Cousins highlights, and it's like, he's like yamming that bitch every time. He's always so aggressive and emotional. You know what I'm saying? The meme, emotional lesbian. But he was just so aggressive in the paint, and it was just crazy to see. And he was also a double machine. He averaged at least 10 points and at least 11 and at least 10 rebounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. For 6 years, he averaged more than 10 rebounds and 10 assists, bro. He was a double machine, bro. And not to mention, he wasn't the greatest defensive big. That's the thing I will give him. But remember when he got traded to New Orleans with Anthony Davis? You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter if Boogie had no defense because AD did. And, man, that front court was fucking insane, bro. But we all know what happened, man. Injuries got the best of Boogie again, man. It just wasn't the same, right? His best season with New Orleans. The next year he went back to New Orleans. They did great, but New Orleans was like, hey man, I think we're gonna get you traded. Went to Golden State. We thought Golden State had another super team, right? They had Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Boogie. But obviously Boogie wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the best. But yeah, most recent team, Denver, was only there for 31 games. That was in 2022. So who knows? Not retired. I think he's overseas again. Right now, he's probably also in his 30s. 33. So he's not old, but yeah. Boogie Cousins, amazing, dominant in the paint. Missed the boy. And that's about it. That's about it for the 5 players. I definitely want to. There's definitely a lot more that I kind of forgot. Obviously, don't remember all of them because 2016, 2017 was even 2018 was a long time ago, right? Almost over half a decade ago. But those are just some of the players that I wanted to talk about, because like I said, Kemba and Gordon Hayward retired, and I was like, damn, I used to love Kemba and Gordon Hayward. But another thing, during that time, 17, 16, 18, there was this game, right? This game that I missed. We're going a little bit, doing a different topic, right? And I just want to talk about how I really fell in love with the NBA. Because during this time, I didn't really have TV, right? Like, no one in my family watched the NBA besides maybe my cousins, and they kind of got me into it, right? And I'm like, ooh, the NBA is cool. Basketball is cool. But when I really fell in love with it was playing this game right here, NBA Live Mobile. Man, NBA Live Mobile was my absolute shit, bro. I used to love that game. It's still around today, but they do this thing where it's seasons now, but the first season of NBA Live was fucking peak with Russell Westbrook in the cover. I remember when I first got it, my cousins got it, right? They got me into it. They had it like, yo, try this game. I'm like, okay. I played the game, and I was hooked. I was hooked immediately, right? I would play every day for hours, just on it, right? Just grinding, trying to get new players, trying to get new cars, trying to get more, I don't know what they call it, coins, NBA coins, I think they called it, to get more packs and more players. And then, oh man, I can't remember the last time I've had so much fun on a mobile game besides NBA Live, man. It was just so fun. And I did hate that it was pay to win, right? Because most of the time I would like seeing YouTubers, right? Because YouTubers had money. So I would watch YouTubers play NBA Live, and they would open these packs, and, they would spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars just getting players. So I hated how all the really, really good players, you had to buy them with real money, right? No different from today's fucking era, right? Same thing, NBA 2K doing that shit with my team, and even my player, where you have to buy VC in order to be really good. But I did hate that, but it was I hated it, but there was also other ways to make coins that I found fun, right? And there was also other ways to get players that you didn't have to buy a lot of stuff. You kind of just had to work for it, and I really liked that. And the thing and I used to want to buy coins, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, there used to be like these websites, not that weren't a part of EA, because EA makes the game, right? They weren't associated with EA, but they would like sell coins, right? Like, you pay $100, you can get like 15 million coins or some shit, or you can pay like $20 and you'd get 2 million. And I used to want to do that because I love this game so much, but I never dumped money into it because I had no money. I was like 13, 14 at the time. Like, hell no, I had no money to spend. So I used to want to buy coins, right? And I couldn't buy coins, right? Like I said, I had no money. But the one way I did make a lot of coins was sniping. You know what I'm saying? If you know. Sniping was genuinely actually so fun for me, just because it was so cool to see, a card, to snipe a really good card for so cheap, and then when you sell it and then you get that thing back. And then it was even better when I would grind it, because I remember I used to get gold cards, right? I used to snipe gold cards. I learned about sniping from YouTube. I would look up how to make NBA coins on NBA Live, and some people were like, oh, you gotta snipe. And I was like, what the hell is sniping? And then I learned it, and I would fall in love with it, and it'd be so satisfactory whenever you'd, buy like 10 plus cards, and then you'd all put them up for the auction house, and then you wouldn't hop on the game for a while, and then you come back and they all sold, and you just collect, and you'd collect the money, bro. But I do remember when they used to fucking tax you, like it was goddamn, like it was the actual fucking government. Like, bro, you would get taxed like 5% for selling your card. Like, bro, why are you taking my money away? This is a mobile game, bro. Talk about some 5% of the coins. Like, bro, what? But I used to hate that, but it was so cool. That's how I got my coins, man. And I was pretty good at sniping, low key. I would make a couple money, man. But this game was so nostalgic. And man, when I hurt, man, because I literally played it the whole season 1, man. Like, I would just play it. But I remember when it first came out, I would play it constantly. But as it started dying out, I would kind of play a little bit less and less. But I would still play a lot, right? I would still put a lot of time into that game. And then and then I remember when the season was ending, I was like, what? I'm like, the season's ending, and I was devastated, bro. I was devastated, man. But like I mean, it's still around NBA Live, but it's just, it's just not the same, bro. It's just not season one, man. It's just not season one. And I think the thing about this game that made it really fun for me was because I was a new NBA fan, right? Like, NBA Live was a way for me to learn about the game and players. Like, that's how I know a lot of players today. Like, that's how I got most of my NBA knowledge, was because I would play NBA Live and see cards of players I've never heard of, right? And then, I would like watch videos on the players. I'm like, yo, who the hell is Goran Dragic, right? And then the card to be, he's a Heat, right? So that's how I got a lot of my NBA knowledge. Because then they would also have sets. The sets were one of the funnest parts about the game, right? Because like I said, most of the time you had to pay money to get good cards. But as the game went on, they would have these sets, and then those would be like a way for me, someone who doesn't have any money or doesn't want to put any money in the game, to get good cards. And you have to grind for those sets. And I think those were so fun, right? Because I would spend hours just grinding, trying to get a certain player, and it was cool. And it was cool because they would be like they would have different sets, like of eras. They would have finals. They would have college and NCAA. They would have, like, I remember they had a Lunar New Year one where Jeremy Lin was the master card, and it was so fun, man. And I used to love it, man. And I think what made it so special about that game was because higher overall cards were like so exciting to get, and not even a higher overall. I'm talking like 90s and below. 90s and above were such a big deal. Like, if you had a 90 or above, you were set, right? Because that's how they did it, right? Like, they slowly rolled out the 90s. It was like, for the longest time, the highest card you can get was 93, and then a month or two went by, and then now you could get up to a 95, and it was so cool. And I think that's what made it so like rewarding when you got a set where you're like, holy shit, I got a 91. And like a 91 nowadays seems like nothing, because nowadays they're just throwing around like high ass overalls. Like, 'cause I remember when season 2 came out, they threw out 100 overalls like so fast. I'm like, bro, there's no meaning for me anymore, right? Like, because now motherfuckers have 90, 100 plus. You can get them to like 104, 115. When it was like, man, back in the day, having a 92 was huge. And nowadays, 115s are just regular. So it was like, that's why I think the game also died down, just because it's not as special getting 90s, and having high overall cards isn't so rare anymore, isn't so hyped to get. And then I just wanted to talk about that real quick, just because I just miss NBA. I just miss back when NBA games were good, like 16, the NBA 2K16, 2K17, mobile. NBA mobile was so fun to do. But I just miss it, man. I haven't played NBA Live Mobile in like years, so I don't even know if it's good. It might be good again, but it's never gonna be the OG season. But yeah, that's about it, guys. I just want to talk about those things. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have anything you want me to talk about. I talk about whatever you want. Basketball, music, video games. I do a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch y'all.